Вау! Диаз, как ты, братуха?
Ты американский гангстер, да? А я русский гангстер. Ты приехал драться, да?
Да не, вы фатим, Закси.
Что за мечта? Что делать?
Нет, Джок. Джок. Сталик, ты что творишь?
Nate Diaz lasted exactly 2 minutes before turning a Russian TUF appearance into a chaotic brawl, and Jon Jones was all for it.
Что делать? Back up. Hey, team, let's get the fuck out. No.
Turning to Jake Shields' account, he describes tagging an opponent while filming, only for someone he believes was part of the film crew, not a fighter to jump in and start punching it.
Andrew grabbed him and he goes down. I started tagging him, and that's when someone blitzed me. That was I'm almost sure it was a film crew, not a fighter. And that's when I was saying that they would have something that yet. Yeah. So like, I can't have because I was like, wait, relax. I'm like, oh, I'm about to fuck this dude up. And then someone was right there, not on the fighter side, someone right there came and started blitzing me. I think he was one of the crew. I can't have the crew like, oh, my boy get fucked up. I don't think he was supposed to attack him. He could instinct him. Yeah, he did. So I think the head dude probably is a little mad. I don't think he wanted to show. I don't think he knows having a crew attack us enough to show in the future.
Recounting the chaos, people were covered in blood, doubting it was staged, as a chaotic brawl broke out after someone began disrespecting Nate. Their teammate Guy Jose responded by knocking the instigator out, though the man kept being escorted out and returning before order was eventually restored.
Like Jon Jones was breaking fights up. He was having to break up fights. Sometimes they break them up earlier. Sometimes they would let people fight. Some people were like covered in blood. It was like, people were like, are they acting? I'm like, well, people are covered in blood, so it's not acting. I don't know, maybe someone was encouraged to fight. It was just completely chaotic. Then some guy came out and started disrespecting Nate. That's when he started acting tough. You know, the videos are gonna show this. Our guy Jose went and smacked the shit out of him. But this guy was escorted out by like 30 Chechens, but then he kept coming back in. And they would escort him out, and then the guy would tell him to leave. So they're trying to act like, you know, a house full of over 100 Chechens and their boss tell him to leave, couldn't get one guy to leave. So here's where they're walking the fighters out. At this point, nothing too crazy had happened. They've walked out 5 or 6 fighters, things were looking. The fighters had fought each other.
Meanwhile, security kept walking the same guy out without real effort, until Nate realized what was happening, and got more on guard. After the man returned again and again, the media guy stepped in and dropped him.
Here's the crew, here's Nate, you know, now he's realizing, oh shit, these guys are gonna be trying to fight me. So at that point, I started being a lot more on guard watching. So here's the guy walking back in the house for like the 3rd or 4th time after like 30 Chechens drag him out. They're pretending they can't security him. So here's like our media guy, health manager. He just choked him and threw him on the ground. So clearly he's mad. He got dropped by a media guy. So here he's coming at him. Again, this guy's not a fighter at all. He's throwing at him. He goes to lat drop him, but he tripped. So, you know, like I said, this is like the 3rd or 4th fight at this point. We're supposed to be doing a reality show, not fighting random people.
Turning to how this whole trip came together, Jake explains it started with Nate Diaz casually inviting him along after being approached about a Russian reality show in Thailand. Similar in format to The Ultimate Fighter, with only a handful of days to prepare, he agreed without doing any research on the production or who was involved, mainly not wanting Nate to head into it alone. He adds that he'd overlooked Nate's history of tension with Chechen and Dagestani fighters, referencing past incidents like the pre-fight brawl.
You want to ask me that? Like, what are you getting into, or you want me to ask you that?
You ask her, what do you expect from the show?
So, cool. Yo, Nate, so we're out here in Phuket. We're doing the Russian Ultimate Fighter, aka Fight Hype. What do you think about the show? What do you think the next few weeks is going to entail?
I don't know what I got into. I came in, they were already going at it with each other. I was on the Ultimate Fighter, so I imagine it's going to be pretty crazy because I don't know any of them.
At the same time, the Jones-Cormier rivalry was one of the UFC's most heated feuds, but according to Jones, Cormier admitted the hate was always just for business. Jones reveals that Daniel Cormier once admitted their rivalry isn't personal at all, telling him, "Being your enemy has made me too much money over the years." Jones says he respects Cormier for being upfront about it.
I don't recall having a moment of shaking hands or not shaking hands with DC. I would shake his hand if I had the opportunity to. I attempted to create some sort of relationship, a positive relationship with him multiple times throughout the TV show. One time we were sitting down on the couch together and I said, isn't this nice for us to just sit here with no problems, you know, just enjoy the moment? And he goes, yeah, this is nice. But he said, Jon, being your enemy has made me too much money over the years. So it's like, even though I have no problem with you, when the cameras turn on, I can never be your friend in front of people.
Capturing that moment of tension, there was a time when Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones were actually getting along behind the scenes. But the second the cameras turned on, DC made it clear that any friendliness was off the table. He told Jones they can't be friends because Jones talks too much trash.
Jon Jones, DC, who is Jon Jones' friend now?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Jon Jones only talks shit to me. All he do is talk shit to me.
I do talk a little.
That's all he do is talk shit.
Adding to the rivalry narrative, Jon Jones has also revealed that Daniel Cormier secretly harbors resentment toward him, rooted in the fact that Jones defeated him twice, including their long-awaited rematch at UFC 214. Jones has suggested that Cormier's animosity runs deeper than the typical fighter rivalry, stemming from a personal place that Cormier has never fully been able to let go of, even after his own successful run as light heavyweight and heavyweight champion.
People thinking that we hate each other is very lucrative to me, and I want it to be like this. And I said, okay, all right, cool. But I respect him for telling me that he actually doesn't hate me. To him, there's a part of it that's business. There's probably another side inside of him. I'll never be his favorite person. I'll never be his favorite person because I beat him in a time where he was considered one of the greatest fighters on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the one person that has come between him being considered one of the greatest fighters ever, myself, and I guess Stipe Miocic.
Breaking down his stance on crossover talk, Jon Jones shuts down the idea of a boxing match with Alexander Usyk, making it clear that he's not a boxer and would only be interested in a fight that tests full combat skills, not a boxing-only bout. It's a firm stance that reinforces his identity as an MMA fighter first and foremost, and a reminder that while the money in boxing might be tempting, he's not interested in stepping into a ring where his full arsenal isn't allowed.
Usyk is Usyk, man. He's one of the absolute GOATs of boxing, of heavyweight boxing. I also am aware that he does wrestling, and that wrestling has been a heavy part of his training for many years. It's probably why he's so dominant in the clinch. If he'd like to test his total combat skills, I would oblige him in that. But to handicap myself by only using my hands, I mean, that's not the world that I come from. So out of all of the heavyweight boxers, I do see Usyk having the highest potential and making it competitive. But I am no boxer.
On the subject of his rivalry with Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier has made it clear there was never any off-camera truce, no conversation where they agreed to set aside their differences once the cameras stopped rolling. Jon Jones is just my enemy, all the time, Cormier stated bluntly. It is what it is, and it's okay. For DC, the animosity wasn't manufactured for promotion. It was real and permanent, rooted in years of personal conflict that no amount of time or professionalism could erase.
But that didn't happen. We did not have that conversation where I sat to him and said, when the cameras are rolling, you're my enemy. No, he's just my enemy all the time. It just is what it is, and it's okay. As I have told you before, you can go to bed at night with an enemy. You don't need the happy fairy tale ending. Everybody doesn't need that. I don't. I'm a grown man, and neither should Jon. Right? Jon shouldn't need that.
Adding insights to his next fight if Jon Jones came out of retirement. But Jones isn't exactly singing Dana White's praises these days, but he's keeping it real about the complicated relationship between fighter and boss. During a recent appearance, Jones didn't hold back when asked about the UFC president, delivering a brutally honest take that sums up their dynamic perfectly. He tweeted, "I'd call him a complete asshole right now, but I love him no matter what. He's my boss. He changed my life, but he's a complete asshole." The former two-time champion reveals which fighters he'd go to war with in a chaotic team scrap, singling out Khamzat Chimaev as one of the key names on his roster. It's a rare glimpse into Jones's mindset on who he trusts and respects enough to have in his corner when the rules go out the window.
If you had to go into a serious fight at this very moment, like a 4-on-4 brawl against another group, which 3 people out of everyone you know would you choose to have standing right there by your side?
Khamzat Chimaev. Francis Ngannou.
And Demetrius Johnson. For contrast.
Probably Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira. One more.
Definitely not Demetrius Johnson. Definitely, he's just too little. Gable Stevenson.
Yeah.
On the topic of Jon Jones's potential return, Michael Bisping shares his insights on why the former champion might be considering a comeback and how the current heavyweight division landscape impacts his decision. Bisping notes that Jones is still active in the USADA testing pool, confirming he hasn't officially retired and is keeping his options open. That detail alone suggests Jones is at least entertaining the idea of stepping back into the Octagon, even as the division continues to evolve around him.
When it comes to me actually fighting anyone, I just keep the door open. I'm still in the UFC's drug testing pool. I get drug tested, blood tested all the time. The door is open.
If he's still in the drug testing pool, that's crazy. That means he hasn't officially retired. Because when I retired, right, they asked me to still remain in the drug testing pool. They said, do you want to come out of the drug testing pool, Mike? And I said, yes. I said, because I need protecting from myself. Because if I don't get taken out of the testing pool, because when you return, you've got to do at least 6 months clean test before you can return. I know what I'm like. Someone's going to drop out of a fight and get injured, and I'll go, you know what? Put me in. So I said, take me out of the testing pool.
Shifting to the matchup front, Michael Bisping lays out why a Jon Jones return could lead to something massive. While a fight with Tom Aspinall was previously expected, Bisping notes that Aspinall is currently tied up in a rivalry with Cyril Gane, leaving the door open for other possibilities. With that in mind, Bisping believes a blockbuster showdown between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira is the most likely and exciting scenario if Jones decides to step back into the Octagon, a fight that would pit two of the sport's most dangerous strikers against each other and generate enormous interest.
Yes, we've got Tom Aspinall as the undisputed champion, and that's the fight that we all want to see. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. But that's not the fight that can take place. He says more, and I'll play it in a second, but that fight can't happen right now. It should have happened. He was offered $30 million and he walked away. We know this. But right now, Tom Aspinall's in the middle of another rivalry, and that's with Cyril Gane. We know about the eye pokes. Apparently, Tom is completely cleared now, okay? Which is wonderful news. And I cannot wait for Tom to come back and fight Cyril Gane, who just put a beat down on Alex Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira's offered another side quest. He's trying to get Herb Dean fired from the sport. He's getting people to sign petitions.
On the business side of Jones's potential return, Bisping notes that despite past tensions, Jon Jones and Dana White have maintained a professional relationship, recently sharing a positive moment at an event, which Bisping believes helps facilitate the possibility of future business. It's a small but telling detail, suggesting that whatever friction existed between them in the past may no longer be a barrier to Jones stepping back into the Octagon.
Yeah, things are great. It was good to see Dana the other day. We laughed. We took a good photo together. In order to do big business, you can't hold grudges. I've made Dana millions of dollars over the years, and he's made me millions of dollars over the years. And so it's not always about how you feel about a person. You know, it's just like, can we still work together? Can we still do business together? I feel like we're always going to be able to make money together. Will I be invited to his house on Christmas? Probably not. But the guy changed my life. And he is a homie for life.
All right, so a very humble, a very mature, a very likable Jon Jones there, okay? And Jon Jones is a likable guy. I know he's had his controversy over the years, but every time I've seen him, I've always had really good interactions. Of course, some of the things are really bad, okay?
Turning to the heavyweight logjam, former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen offers a different take on Jon Jones's next move. While many are focused on a potential Jones versus Tom Aspinall showdown, Sonnen points out the current confusion surrounding the division and argues that Jones moving down to face Alex Pereira at 205 pounds would actually solve the logistical issues. It's a bold proposal that would sidestep the heavyweight mess while delivering one of the biggest fights the sport could make.
The only compelling storyline is Jon versus Aspinall, because it's to the point that Jon turned down the money, retired from the sport, second-guessed the whole thing, returned to the sport, re-entered the pool, of which does not have him ranked, which leads any reasonable person to believe that he is currently in a violation of the drug testing procedure. And so then people, okay, because he doesn't want it, that's the one that we want.
When it comes to Jon Jones's return, Chael Sonnen has made his stance clear. If Jones wants to come back, he should fight Alex Pereira. According to Sonnen, that's the fight that makes the most sense, a blockbuster showdown that would generate massive interest and solve the current heavyweight logjam, while giving Pereira a chance to face one of the greatest of all time in his natural weight class. It's a matchup that pits two of the most dangerous strikers in the sport against each other, and Sonnen believes it's the kind of fight that could define both legacies, while delivering the kind of spectacle that casual and hardcore fans alike would tune in to see.
If you wanted to make Jon show that he's earnest, you allow him to fight Alex Pereira, and you even let it be for a title, and you even make it the main event. You just make him cut down to 205 pounds. Problem solved. 100% of the problem is solved. And Jon isn't much bigger now than when he was fighting at light heavyweight. John Wade walked around about 228, just a little bit south of 230. Completely out of shape, just when he walked around, that was just as big as his body got. And now that's closer to 240.
Adding to the update on Jon Jones, the former champion mentioned that his current focus is on serving as the host for the upcoming IBA Bare Knuckle event in Miami this July. It's a notable move that keeps him connected to the fight world without committing to a return inside the Octagon, at least for now. While fans continue to speculate about his next move in MMA, Jones seems content to stay involved in combat sports on his own terms, taking on a role that allows him to remain visible without the physical demands of training camp and fight night.
We have an event in July in Miami that's going to be pretty exciting to have a crossover between America and Russia. I think it's going to be very important for the American people to see Russian fighters, see the talent that's coming out. And I'm all about just mixing people together, you know, like my personal friends are very diverse. My friends are Mexican, Russian, white, and black, and African, and I love that fighting brings people together. Sports give people the reason to allow politics to get behind us.
Adding to the prediction front, Jon Jones weighed in on the upcoming Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary fight, siding with the champion to get the win. Jones pointed to Islam's strong wrestling pedigree and his ability to dictate where the fight takes place as the deciding factors whether it stays standing or hits the ground. Makhachev has the tools to control the tempo and enforce his game plan. Jones suggested that Gary, despite his length and striking skills, will struggle to impose his own style if he can't keep the fight where he wants it.
Yeah, Islam's going to fight against Ian Gary next, right? I assume that Islam's going to win that one just because of his wrestling pedigree. You know, to be able to dictate if the fight's going to be standing or on the ground, it's a great gift. Another guy with a strong team behind him, strong faith. I'm not rooting for anyone in that fight because I don't know either one of those guys on the personal level, but I'm assuming that Islam's gonna win.
Wrapping up the latest on Jon Jones's potential comeback, the former champion is keeping his options open, staying in the testing pool, hosting a bare knuckle event in July, and letting the speculation simmer. Drop your prediction in the comments. Who should Jones fight next? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the latest fight news, analysis, and updates. Thanks for watching.